All right. Here we go, guys and gals. And boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, drivers.
And we're live for the Loose Wheel Show, episode 39, I do believe. Yes, it is 39. Andrew Hazlett, Ethan Ignatowski alongside, ready to go for the next hour. Talk about this weekend of racing and more.
And more?
Yeah, because last week of racing happened too.
That's true. It did.
That's
how time works.
And now for last week's race reviews.
Kansas. We ain't in Kansas anymore. The Miranda Lambert song goes, and they were in Kansas.
That's how the Wizard of Oz goes.
Well, it's don't question Miranda Lambert. Kansas reviews.
I'm just questioning if you know the Wizard of Oz.
I do know the Wizard of Oz, but I also know Miranda Lambert.
Okay.
This has been an interesting start. Truck race. Who won? I forgot.
Off to a great start to the podcast.
We have derailed, and
live
it's
radio show.
and
I need to stop saying podcast.
We have derailed into the show, and it's not even 2 minutes in. Corey Heim won. I picked him. I should have known that. I don't know. Eric Almirola won the Xfinity race, second he has done this year. I did not watch either race, so yeah. And I don't know how much racing I'll watch this weekend. But anyway, Kansas. Christopher Bell was on the pole. He was a playoff driver. So that's huge implications. Lap 1, right away. People in the back crashing. Jimmy Johnson, Harrison Burton, AJ Allmendinger, Josh Berry, and Chase Elliott was close to being in the wreck. So that was a scary moment for him. He had to go to the back of the field because he had a penalty of some sort. I think unapproved adjustments. So yeah, and an interesting talking point came from this crash is Josh Berry, the only damage he had was 4 flat tires, and he was unable to get back to the pits. So since he is unable to get back to the pits, NASCAR's like, no, you can't continue in the race. And his crew chief was so mad about that. He tweeted during the race how mad he was about that.
He tweeted during the race.
Yes,
that's even more than Toto Wolff sending Michael Masi an email during the race.
Yeah, he was not happy, and NASCAR should probably change that. You should get a tow if your damages, say, hey, you can repair it on the DVP, and if you can't, you're out of the race. The officials shouldn't be making that decision for the teams. It should be the teams making that decision. So that's all I have to say about that. Moving in later in the race, Larson, my pick to win. He blew a tire. That derailed his day. Bell, he takes 2 tires on that, where everyone else takes 4. And then Byron to the lead, 8 laps left, because Bell, he hit the wall. And
that's not good. He should try not doing that.
And it may or may not have been linked to the tires, but that was something people thought of. So the stage 1 results, you had your big, a lot of playoff points. Your top 5 were Byron, Logano, Blaney, Hamlin, Bell, all playoff drivers. After that, you had Gibbs, who has been eliminated. Then Cindric, who is in the playoffs. Then you have the eliminated driver Truex. Then you have Bowman, who is in the playoffs, and Hocevar, who is not in the playoffs. So mixed bag of the back of the top 10 there. Then in the pits, Logano gets the lead, and then Byron gets the lead. You have an Eric Jones caution. Again, split strategy here. Busch and Bell, they took 2 tires, where everyone else took 4. Bell to the lead. You had a couple. You had Hemrick spin. And then Smith takes 2, and then most other people, they take 4. Bell to the lead. And then you had a couple cars spin. Actually, Bell took 2 tires on that second stop there. So twice they took 2 tires. Cindric spins. He had a tire down. Split strategy. Bell to lead. and then some pitted, some didn't. Bell to the lead, and Bowman passed him on the lead for the restart. And guess what happened, Ethan?
What happened?
Bell hit the wall because, again, maybe of his tires. So that's just something that happened. His tires just didn't last.
His tires weren't tiring.
Yeah.
Hate it when
So
that happens.
So your stage 2 results, you had Bowman win the stage, getting him 10 points. Then you had Gibbs, and then you had the playoff drivers of Blaney and Byron, followed by a bunch of non-playoff drivers, Keselowski, Hocevar, Busch, Truex, and then you had Elliott and Briscoe getting points for their playoff pushes. Again, split strategy. All the guys that came out, except for Gibbs, guys that did not pit, they pitted. And all the guys that pitted didn't pit, except for Gibbs, who didn't pit at all. He stayed out again. So, yeah. Gibbs, he inherited lead, then Hocevar passed him on the restart. That's something you don't see often. Carson Hocevar, a Spire car, in the lead on pace.
Good for him, man. Good for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, rare sight for sure.
Eventually, Ross Chastain was able to pony up and passed him. And then eventually Kyle Busch to the lead. And then green flag pit stops. And then after that, Busch and Chastain swapped the lead. And then an interesting point happened here with about 30 to go. Kyle Busch spins while lapping Briscoe. Briscoe gave him a lane, but was only a lane on the top. So you have a non-playoff driver who's lapping a playoff driver. The question is, should they be more aware of that? Should they give him more room? I don't know. That it's an interesting thing to watch, is how these guys in the playoffs treat the non-playoff guys and vice versa. Very interesting. Just that's a dynamic that always seems to be brought up every playoffs. Normally it's how the non-playoff guys treat the playoff guys, but this time it was the roles reversed. The playoff guy blocks the non-playoff guy into the wall while lapping. That's something you don't see often. It's very interesting to see what will happen there moving forward. That relationship between those two drivers and the rest of the field, playoffs versus non-playoffs. At this point, Martin Truex to the lead, and then Hocevar spun after contact from Gilliland, and then Chastain to the lead on the restart, and Chastain won. Solid race, 8 out of 10 for me.
And now for the news.
Now into the news, Ethan. Go at it.
This is the earliest we've gotten done with the review section in maybe forever. That's what happens when you really only got one series going on. But starting off with F1 news, as we talked about during last week's episode, Daniel Ricciardo, it seemed pretty obvious that he was going to be leaving Formula One. It was an emotional weekend in Singapore for him. Lots of goodbyes, saying goodbye to Formula One. It wasn't official, but everyone kind of knew what was happening. The writing was on the wall. The way that Ricciardo was acting, everyone could tell what was going on. And on Thursday, so 2 days after our show, it was confirmed that Daniel Ricciardo would be leaving the Red Bull, or RB. He'd be leaving RB. He could potentially stay within the Red Bull family as an ambassador or something like that for the brand. But in terms of racing in Formula One, that is no longer an option. They are moving on to Liam Lawson, who, when he was driving last year for Ricciardo, when Ricciardo was recovering from his hand injury, he did very well. For me, I just don't understand what took so long to get Liam Lawson in that car, and I also don't understand why they went about doing it in this way. You could have just, respected Ricciardo enough to let him finish out the season, especially when you blasted McLaren for dropping Daniel Ricciardo. And that wasn't even during the season. That was they could have dropped him during the season for Oscar Piastri, who was just sitting on the sidelines, but they didn't. They let Ricciardo finish his time at McLaren. And Red Bull, they kind of took exception to, or Christian Horner took exception to that anyway, and now they're doing the same thing. So that's just the hypocrisy of just everything, though. But essentially, this is the end of Daniel Ricciardo's Formula One career. There is no way that he's going to be able to find another seat. He's just not his old self anymore. He had an amazing career, won 8 races, 30-something podiums. It's a much, much better career than many drivers will ever get, but time wasn't on his side. His time was behind him. Yuki Tsunoda, his teammate at RB, almost every weekend was outperforming him. So I understand why Liam was brought in. I thought Liam should have been brought in for the start of this, like at the start of the season. I don't think Ricciardo should have even started the season for RB. RB is a junior team for Red Bull where young drivers, they're not a sister team, Andrew.
They're not officially
miss me
a
with
junior
that.
team.
Miss me with that. We both know their real purpose. Come on. They're not equals with Red Bull.
Right.
They're the junior team. Even if they're the sister team, they're not twins or anything. It's big sis, little sis.
Yeah.
So, Ricciardo, either way, RB operates to get young drivers into Red Bull. Ricciardo was not a young driver. If they wanted to put him in Red Bull to replace Sergio Perez, they would have just done that. I don't think it was ever, maybe for a while, but I think very quickly Red Bull realized that Daniel Ricciardo wasn't a true option to be alongside Max Verstappen anymore. And they should have realized that last year. From the start of the year, it should have been Liam Lawson. And now Liam's going to get unnecessary hate for replacing Daniel mid-season when he deserved to be in the car from the start. So he'll be taking on from Austin till the rest of the season. So that gives him like 5-6 races, I want to say, before, next season when it will be his first full season in Formula One. Not quite sure how long the contract is for. It's Formula One. We don't always have that luxury.
Last I checked, it was only for these 6 races or whatever. They haven't.
Was it really?
They haven't officially, they hadn't officially confirmed them for next year.
Okay.
Which
well,
they should.
Very soon, Liam Lawson will be confirmed for next year. I would almost guarantee it. They wouldn't be putting him in the car for the rest of this year if they weren't going to sign him for next year, because then they would have just kept Ricciardo in the car and avoided potentially burning a bridge with a very marketable person in Daniel Ricciardo. Even if Daniel Ricciardo just stays in the Red Bull family as kind of a piece for social media, for advertisement, marketing purposes, that's still huge for Red Bull. He has a huge fan base. So it's not worth it to burn that bridge if they weren't going to have Lawson in the car for next year. The only thing that could even slightly lower the chances of Lawson being in the car next season is Isaac Hadjar winning Formula 2, which is very possible, but I don't think that really impacts RB and Red Bull too much. Hadjar probably sits on the sidelines for a season or two, no matter what.
Yeah, for Hadjar to get that seat, he would have to win F2, and Lawson would have to not fare well in the Red Bull.
And we've already seen that Liam Lawson can drive that car very, very well.
Yeah.
So I think that he'll probably not quite be at the level of Yuki Tsunoda, but I think he'll be a lot closer than Ricciardo was. Lawson hasn't raced a whole bunch recently, so there could be some rust at first, but I think give him 1 or 2 races and he'll be there or thereabouts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next bit of Formula One news regarding the Miami Grand Prix. I actually couldn't find anything on this, Andrew. You put this in the document, so tell me about it.
Yeah, they're adding shorter circuits in so they can use it for year round. If you want to look them up, there's a racer article that shows the layouts, but they're all shortened layouts of the track, and then with shortcuts, for lack of a better word, to just shortcut the track.
Yeah.
To say, okay, so it can be used for year round. You can have like random sports car races there or something like that.
Okay, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Miami kind of is. It's not the best.
It's one
track
of the
to
race
say
tracks
it, to
of
say
all
it
time.
very, very nicely. What series are considering going there?
Let me check.
Because why would you? Like, it really only makes sense for Formula One, just from kind of a capturing that specific audience perspective. I can't think of any other series that would want to go there, really, because the track is not good. It's in the parking lot of Hard Rock Stadium. That's not a racetrack. That's a parking lot.
It says will allow the track to host competitive race events at other times of the year, as well as private track events. This is from Racer Magazine, Chris Midland. The development means the circuit can host both corporate events and community-based days. So yeah, it doesn't really name a series.
So it's just gonna be like rich people doing track days.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a lot different then. Okay. Sure. Cool. That's cool for that.
Yeah.
If I had $1 bajillion, I'd go race in Hard Rock Stadium's parking lot.
These are the layouts I'm showing Ethan.
Okay, so you got one where essentially you're just getting rid of you're shortening the one of the straights, the straight that kind of goes sideways. You're basically eliminating that.
The isn't straight.
And then you have another layout which basically cuts the main straightaway in half. Another straightaway, or another layout that also cuts that main straightaway in half, while also getting rid of the entire kind of curvy section on the left bottom side of the track. If you're looking at the track map, hopefully that makes sense. I don't know how to describe this really.
Yeah.
And then the final circuit keeps everything but that curvy section, so you do have the elongated straight. I mean, that's cool, I guess. Like I said, if I was a bajillionaire, I'd go race my expensive cars around racetracks, because that sounds fun.
Mm-hmm.
But as for actual racing series, doesn't sound like it's a huge thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then next up is Renault is confirming the end of their F1 power unit project after 2025. And obviously Renault, the only team that they power is Alpine, which is Renault's sports car department. The statement says that Formula One activities at Varai, excluding the development of a new engine, will continue until the end of the 2025 season. Each employee affected by this transformation project will be proposed a new position within Alpine Hypertech. So, essentially, the F1 engine program is getting shut down, and then they will be transitioned to a different part of the Alpine racing family. It's just reallocation of resources. Renault probably looked at it and decided that it didn't make sense anymore to produce their own F1 engine. So instead, from 2026 onward, they're most likely going to use Mercedes. That seems to be the direction that Alpine is going. There hasn't been an official announcement, but there's been a lot of reports that it is going to be Mercedes, and an ESPN article is saying that it could reduce costs from 120 million to 17 million, which obviously if you're Renault, I'm not a numbers guy, Andrew, but I know that 17 million, well, still very expensive, is a lot cheaper than 120 million.
Right. That is how math works.
That is how math works. So yeah, makes sense for Renault, makes sense for Alpine. We'll see if it does end up being Mercedes. Pretty sure that it will be. If everyone is saying that it's going to be Mercedes, chances are it's going to be Mercedes. So they would join McLaren, Williams, Aston Martin, and of course Mercedes. Although Aston Martin is going to leave for Honda by then, so it's a net neutral for Mercedes. But big win for Renault. And then final bit of news regarding Formula One stuff. Sergio Perez, there were a lot of rumors surrounding his F1 future. He has kind of
Silence the doubters.
Not the doubters, just the people that thought that he was going to leave. He posted the Wolf of Wall Street clip where he says, I'm not going anywhere or whatever. I'm not leaving. Posted that to Twitter, and he did an interview where he basically said that he knows that his time in Formula One is running out, but he has a 2-year contract. He wants to leave on his own terms, and he knows that his time is running out, but he has at least 2 more years in the sport. I wonder if he knows that he is employed by the same company that just cut one of their drivers early. So, sure, yeah, he has 2 years, but that doesn't actually mean all that much. And with the way that Sergio Perez is performing, unless he can turn it around, I'm not quite sure he has those 2 years. He seemed pretty confident that he will stick around, but we all know that in Formula One, things can change on a dime.
It means he's getting paid for 2 years.
Exactly. Will he actually be racing for 2 years? I couldn't tell you. If you wanted me to make a guess, I'd say that Sergio Perez probably gets dropped after next season, if not during that season. Depending on also how well Liam Lawson or Yuki Tsunoda, but more likely Liam Lawson, because for reasons that we won't even get into, it doesn't seem like Red Bull has Yuki Tsunoda in their future considerations much. And yeah, again, Sergio Perez, he's another guy who's had a very successful Formula One career, but I don't even think that for Perez it's an issue of his time is over. I just think that Red Bull car is so undrivable for anyone not named Max Verstappen, and even recently it's been undrivable for Max Verstappen that, he can't even do anything about it.
Yeah,
so I feel for the guy, to be honest.
Red Bull, I saw on the internet, so I take it with a grain of salt, that they had an update in 2020. What was last year? 2023?
2023, Andrew. It is currently 2024.
Thank you for I don't even know what year it is anymore. I never know what year it is, except for when it was 2020. That was a very memorable year for
all the wrong reasons.
And some right reasons, too. For me. But anyway, in Spain of 2023, Red Bull has an upgrade. Sergio, at that point, says, this isn't good. And Red Bull was still going on that development train for 1 1/3-ish years.
Well, because it was supposed to benefit Max.
Well, it obviously isn't, because
not anymore. It was for a long time, but not anymore.
Because that's about when Perez's performance took a dip. With Red Bull going off that wrong path, that set him that way, it didn't help anyone.
No, but if you'll remember, for this season, Red Bull brought an entirely new car concept. They're not racing the same concept that they were racing last year. So I still agree with you because we have heard things this year as well where Sergio has told the team that they're going in the wrong direction, and the team has disagreed. And then finally, the team has now gone and listened to Sergio's direction, but since then, arguable that things have even got worse, not better.
We'll see moving forward.
We'll see moving forward, but I don't expect things at Red Bull to get too much better, especially with so many people leaving the team, including Adrian Newey, whose whole job is car design. We'll see. We will see, but it doesn't appear like things are going to be going too great for Sergio Perez or Red Bull in the future. But going back to the original topic that we were discussing, Perez around for at least a little longer.
Yeah. Moving over to stateside news, IndyCar. In some news that we kind of teased on last week, Rossi is teaming with Christian Rasmussen for Ed Carpenter Racing. Alex and Rossi will be in the 20 instead of the 21. Rasmussen will be in the 21. Interesting choice of numbers there. We'll see if it means anything. Probably not. But we'll see. Good. At least Rossi will still be able to be competitive at the 500. Good move for Ed Carpenter Racing, getting a good experienced veteran driver who's arguably top 10, pairing him with a young guy who can be potentially top 10. So that's what you need.
How long is the deal for?
2025 and 2026 at least.
Okay.
Might be more. I don't know. I know it was at least a multi-year deal. Might have been a 3-year deal. But
I'm
don't
surprised
quote me
that
on
Rossi signed a multi-year deal there. A
Well,
little bit surprised.
I'm not, because what's happening at Ray Hall, that might take him back places. And Ed Carpenter Racing, they may not be great at everywhere else, but they're great at the Indy 500. They're always great there.
Do you think that's all Rossi cares about, though? Because
if you all right, your options are a mid Ray Hall team who's bad at the ovals and decent at the street and road courses, or a team that gives you a shot to win at the Indy 500, and be kind of irrelevant everywhere else. That I'd probably take the Indy 500. I'd rather have one shot to win a year than zero. That at the end of the day, that's kind of the thing that he's going off of.
Fair, I guess. I mean, he's already won an Indy 500, but I don't know. Maybe that just makes him hungrier for a second.
Yeah. Something we also kind of teased last week as a possibility: IndyCar set for Dallas Street Race in 2026. The good news about this is it feels the early season atrociously long gap in the schedule. Hopefully this replaces
Formula One could learn something about that.
Hopefully this replaces Thermal Club, because we don't need Thermal Club on the schedule. Because I don't want to race in front of in a club.
Yeah. Country club, but instead of a golf course, it's a racetrack. Really cool concept, but I don't understand why IndyCar is racing there.
As an exhibition race, fair, but it's not. Otherwise, there's no motivating move to have a race there. Hopefully it replaces that. And I'd rather have the Oval, because the Oval put on a great race in its last race there. But if you can't get the Oval, the street race isn't that bad.
Well, we don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it can't be too bad. It can't.
Yeah.
There was a bad street race
I don't know,
for
Jim.
Formula One, but I think we'll see.
Street races are always hit or miss. This could just be a miss. We don't know.
Yeah. And a very surprising piece of news: Michael Andretti is selling Andretti.
Well, he's not selling Andretti. He's just.
That's basically what's happening. He's selling them
He's selling his stake.
At least most of his stake, to the other owner, Dan Taurus, the owner of Gamebridge Group 1001.
But the entire ownership isn't like selling it to an entirely new party.
Yeah.
It's just Michael Andretti taking a bit of a backseat.
Yeah, it's something that he's wanted to do for a while.
Apparently.
Since the F1 deal kind of didn't fall apart, got fallen apart on them. It kind of makes sense.
Just the deal collapsed. That's what happened.
Well, it was on
through no fault of Andretti.
Yeah,
but the deal did collapse.
Say, yeah, right. It's very surprising seeing that Gainbridge and Delaware Life, two of the companies there, are sponsoring and the two of the three Andretti cars. So, yeah, it's very surprising. I didn't expect this to happen. Andretti will still be involved in day-to-day operations. He just won't be ownership anymore.
Which, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't exactly know why he would make that move if he's still part of day-to-day. Like, I don't know, maybe he just wanted some money, but I don't know. I wonder... Nah, I'll save that speculation for a different episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then a kind of related piece of news. Zach Brown was on the Andretti board.
Mm-hmm.
He left that position earlier today, Tuesday, if you're listening to us live. So that's kind of interesting. Andretti and Brown are good friends. Now that Andretti sold his portion off, I don't think Brown really wanted to stay. He's got his own team to run.
He was only there for like a month though, right? Like he was a pretty new
No, he'd been on for a little bit.
Had he?
A little longer than that, I feel like. A couple of years.
Okay, I'm completely wrong then. Never mind. NASCAR news.
Yeah, NASCAR news. Ethan, when you think trophy hunting,
yes,
do you think of Ty Dillon as a driver that embodies that?
I'd have to go with no.
Well, the team whose motto is trophy hunting, Colleague Racing, have replaced Daniel Hemrick with Ty Dillon in their second Colleague Racing Cup entry, which is renumbered from 31 to 10 for 2025. Certainly a move.
One of the moves of all time, some might say.
Yeah, this is a step back. Daniel Hemrick was a guy who is reliable. He won't run he won't run fast, but he won't junk a lot of cars up. Ty Dillon is a slightly worse version of that. He's
more
slower
inconsistent.
and more inconsistent.
Yeah.
So, but money does count for something, I guess.
He hasn't even done anything like recently. I don't get it, man. Like, yeah, you said sure, money talks, but what has dude even been doing? Like, he was in trucks a little bit this year, but like, what is he? I don't know.
He hasn't won since his time in Xfinity back in like 2017.
He hasn't even finished top. He hasn't even finished top 5 since 2020. In the Cup Series.
In a race.
Yeah. So, just what are we doing here?
Yeah, Ty Dillon. Yeah, he's. The last time he won a race was. He didn't even won one. Last time he won one was 2014 in Xfinity.
Pennzoil 250 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Yeah, that's. He's not a winner. I know money talks, but that's the. Of all the moves they could have made, this might have been one of the worst ones that they could have made. That's all I have to say. Anyway.
I think you said it all.
Speaking of terrible moves, Ethan, I've got one better for you.
Uh-oh.
Ticketmaster is named official ticketing partner of NASCAR. More fees to NASCAR fans. If you want to grow the series, I don't know. Maybe not have $50 worth of fees along with your $50 ticket. I don't know.
One would think that would be the correct move.
Yeah,
but once again, money talks.
Once again, money talks. And I've got another thing that talks. It is the Chicken Award. Thank you, NASCAR, for giving the fans fees. You get a squeeze. Rip headphone users. Anyway, that's what. I don't have much to say.
You don't have much to say about that.
I don't have much to say.
And now for next week's race previews.
Anyway, moving into Talladega. Besides the normal things that we talk about for the previews, NASCAR is making aerodynamic changes to the Cup cars. They're doing so they don't flip, because they added.
That
was something that happened at Daytona and Michigan.
We're getting reports that Andrew, your Chicken Award has officially hurt an ear.
Oh.
We're receiving reports.
Yeah. Don't worry. Don't have the volume too loud.
We're just like give a warning before.
Well, I did say Chicken Award.
You did.
But I didn't say the rip headphone users before, so.
That's on our wonderful graphic designer, Austin. That's his fault.
Yeah. Anyway, with this thing, they're adding a extended rocker panel skirt, an extended height roof rail, and a piece of fabric under the right side roof flap. Just trying to, this fabric will function similarly to a parachute, allowing the car to be set back on the ground and not go skyward, not flip.
Yeah.
That's basically
race cars are normally better when they're not flying throughout the air. They generally operate better. It's generally safer as well.
I'm going into more detail. The straight edge of the triangular shaped fabric will be fastened to the roof flap, basically on the greenhouse. This is all from TobyChristie.com. The right side roof rail will be made of 2-inch fin of some sort of material that I've never heard of.
What's the material?
Polycarbonate, allowing air
just say polycarbonate then.
To deflect off of its flat surface if the vehicle will. Yeah, that's the picture that I saw. Okay. Will be sideways. So yeah, that's basic. And then finally, the rocker box, which sits directly in the center of the vehicle, will have an aluminum extension added to it, eliminating the space between the car's floor and the ground beneath it.
So it's the thing on the roof, to paint a visual picture here, is essentially a trapezoid that has two attachments to the car that then gets lifted up.
That's what the roof flap is, and they added a piece to it. So, yeah. That hopefully cars don't flip as violently as it is Daytona.
There's a triangular piece added to the side. Cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Science and stuff.
Now back to the regular preview part. Driver changes. You have AJ Allmendinger in the 13 colored car. That's the third car. He's going to be partnered with Shane Van Gisbergen in the 16, and then Hemrick in the normal 31. Cody Ware's in the 15 this week. 44 is J.J. Yaley. 62 Anthony Alfredo. 78 B.J. McLeod for Live Fast Motorsports Zone Team. 62 Beard Motorsports. This is the first time in history that a playoff race is full for the Cup race. So,
really?
Yeah. Since the charter system. So that's good. We like open entries. That's good. So let's get into the five. The five guys that I say they're gonna be good. And sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. First driver on the list is two-time winner Kyle Busch, Talladega. He's won there twice recently in the McLaren Chevrolet, because that was the sponsor, McLaren Grills, not the car company.
It's a distinction that needs to be mentioned.
Yeah. You have six-time winner there, driver of the 6, Brad Keselowski. He's one of my 5 as well. Denny Hamlin, he's always good on plate tracks. He's only won there twice, though, more of a Daytona guy, but still a guy to watch out for. Joey Logano, he's won there 3 times. Ryan Blaney always seems to be the hot hand at this race in particular. He's won there 3 times.
Yeah.
Other guys that have won that aren't in my 5. Stenhouse won there once. Elliott won there twice. And then the 23-11 guys, Reddick and Wallace won a piece, and Ross Chastain also won there once. In Xfinity, you have Dylan Lupton in the 15. He'll be driving that the rest of the year. Your Joe Gibbs All-Star cars, Taylor Gray, Eric Almirola, 19 and 20 respectively. 26 for Sam Hunt Racing, Dean Thompson. Third Jordan Anderson car is going to be Jordan Anderson, the 32. Emerlin Gase, or actually now Joey Gase Motorsports, they used to be called Emerlin Gase. Their 2 cars, Joey Gase and Carson Ware. 88 will be Carson Quapple, that's the 5th Junior Motorsports car. 92, second DJM car, Nick Lights. The SS Greenlight Racing cars will be CJ McLaughlin and David Starr. The 3rd Alpha Prime car will be Cesar Baccarella. And the Mike Harmon car, last I checked, was driver TBA, the
Everyone's
number 74.
favorite. Everyone's
Do
favorite
we
driver.
have a driver announced for that? I would like to see Mike Harmon enter. That would be nice. We are
I don't
loading
know.
here.
I think TBA has a good shot at this one,
Yeah.
Andrew.
It is still TBA, so we'll see.
We'll see.
In
Might be you.
I can confirm it is not me.
I can confirm it's not me, unfortunately.
Yeah. So, whoever's saying those rumors are not true. Anyway, going over to trucks. Keith McGee will be in the O2 for Young's Motorsports. Did you know, Ethan, that Young's Motorsports has won, I think, twice in the truck series? Okay?
Okay. Are you asking me if I knew that?
Well, now you do.
Yeah, I didn't, but now I do.
Mhm.
Cool.
Has won, I believe, twice. Let me make sure that's right. I'm checking here.
Is this going somewhere?
I'm going somewhere.
Okay.
This is.
Okay. Let him cook.
They have
Let him
won
cook, everyone.
twice in their history,
Okay.
and both times it was the Talladega Fall Truck Race. 2019 with Spencer Boyd, and 2021 with Tate Fulgerman.
So are you saying they're due?
I don't know. They're not a very good team, but we'll see.
Stranger things have happened.
O2 will be driven for them, Keith McGee, in their only truck this week. They're not bringing the 46. Corey Roper will be in his own truck, the 04, this week. Norm Benning will also be in his own truck, the 6 this week. Connor Zilich,
Always got to watch out for.
yeah, he'll be in the 7 Spire truck, the 3rd truck. It was very interesting this week is when the entry list was released, a lot of people were like, wait, what? Because they saw Grant Enfinger in his normal ride, the 9 CR7 car.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing abnormal there. But the manufacturer listed, Ethan, was Oldsmobile.
Yeah, that's
A mistake.
that has to be a mistake, seeing as Oldsmobile has been defunct for 20 years.
That was corrected to Chevrolet, but I'm still mentioning it because that was very random.
Return of the Ghost Dodge, except the Ghost Oldsmobile or Zombie Dodge. Return of the Zombie Dodge, this time as an Oldsmobile.
For those who don't know, Zombie Dodges were a thing where after Dodge left NASCAR, but they still had old bodies around that were illegal that you could use them. So a lot of these teams, they don't buy new cars every year, so they still had some of these Dodges. So Dodges, they're not supporting anyone. So they were called Zombie Dodges, as they were that's how they were called that. Anyway.
Well, they weren't receiving factory support, so
yeah. If you
I think the last Zombie Dodge was last entered in 2018, something like that.
Something like that.
Big Zombie Dodge guy. But continue on with programming as normal,
16
Andrew.
for Hattori will be Johnny Sauter. He's a good driver at these tracks. One of the 2 Jason Whites will be in the race for Rheum Brothers. He'll be in the 22. It's the one that normally drives for Rheum. Brian Doza will be in the 28 for FDNY Racing. Yes, that is the Fire Department of New York. Nice Motorsports will be and go ahead.
I'm going to need you to explain that. Fire department, the NY Fire Department has a truck team.
It's a guy who may or may not have been affiliated with that, but that's what the team is named.
Interesting.
Anyway, 44 and 45 for Nice Motorsports will be Caden Honeycutt, who is announced to be full-time for them next year in the 45, and 44, Danny Bone. 75 for Henderson will be Stephen Parsons. That truck has won there in the past. 91 truck for McAnally Hilgeman will be Ryan Reed, 2-time Xfinity Daytona winner. Maybe he can do something. 95 for GK Racing, Clay Greenfield. Number 21 for Floridian Motorsports will be Mason Maggio. Ethan, let's get into pick points here.
Let's do it.
And now for next week's race picks.
So, last week, there was only the 3 NASCAR races. You had Truck Series, Xfinity Series, and Cup Series, all at Kansas. As Andrew mentioned earlier, Corey Heim won, giving him 5 points. I picked Christian Eckes, 0 points for me since Corey Heim won. Neither of us picked up a point for myself picking Justin Allgaier and Andrew picking Sheldon Creed in the Xfinity Series. Our ghost guest picker picked Cole Custer, who finished ahead of both of those guys. And then back to the Cup Series, Denny Hamlin, who was my pick, did finish ahead of Kyle Larson, so I get 1 point there. Good weekend for Andrew. Gains 4 points on me to make it a little closer. 310 for Andrew, 322 for me. But I still got myself a lead, and I hope to, at the very least, come out this weekend even in Talladega. We're going to have graphics of this go out on Instagram and Twitter as well. I'll post them on Twitter too, because sure, why not? So shout out again to our graphics guy, Austin Hurst. He will be tagged in those posts. But anyway, who did we pick, Andrew? Well,
I will mention that our guest picker this week was a random generator wheel spun by me, because Talladega produces winners like a random generator wheel, because you had Young's Motorsports winning races there.
So, Andrew, you picked Rajah Caruth, and then I picked Ben Rhodes.
I'm actually keeping Rajah Caruth as my pick this week instead of last week.
Yeah. Well, you have to. The graphics have already been made. I'm picking Ben Rhodes, who hasn't won a race all year. Even last year, when he won the championship, he only won one race. So, not a big time winner as of late, but he has finished second at Talladega the last 2 times the Truck Series has gone there. So my thinking is, as long as Rajah Caruth doesn't win, I'm getting 1 point. If trends continue.
Okay.
If trends continue.
All right. Xfinity. I'm taking the Super Speedway King, Austin Hill.
Yeah, Austin Hill. Has he won at Talladega?
I think he has. I think.
Let's see this.
He's more of a Daytona and Atlanta guy.
Yeah.
That's where his majority of his wins come from. But he, I believe, won at Talladega in the spring one year. My memory serves me right. No, it does not. He has never won at Talladega.
Okay. But like you said, you can never really count against Austin Hill at a super speedway.
Yeah. In his career, he's won, of his few wins that of his 9 wins, all but 2 of them have came on super speedways. So 7 and 9.
Yeah.
And in those, and when he went full time, there has been, I'm doing math real quick. There has been 6, 5, 11 super speedway races, and he's won 7 of them.
Yeah. So,
Safe pick.
I'm picking for Xfinity your pick from last week, Sheldon Creed, who has not won a race in the Xfinity Series just yet. But like we've been harping on, there's always chaos at Talladega. And a first-time win could be, result of chaos. He has raced well there, 6th earlier this season, and then last year he had a 2nd there. So as far as, because really Talladega, it is a shot in the dark, but as far as shots in the dark go,
Why not?
why not? Solid pick if I don't say so myself. I should mention, since you did bring up the randomized generator, Stuart Friesen. Yeah, never even heard of this guy.
He's won in the trucks before.
That's who the generator picked. Apparently he's a winner in the truck series before, so potentially good job, AI generator. Hopefully not too good of a job, because if so, Andrew and I will be out of a show. Ryan Ellis was then the generator's pick for the Xfinity Series.
Not a winner.
Not a winner. I have heard of Ryan Ellis before, though, so at least there's that.
Really? Wow.
Then before we get to our picks, BJ McLeod was the pick
He'll
by
probably
the
at least
generator
finish.
for the Cup Series.
So.
He'll finish at least.
Yeah.
That's a high bar that we're setting.
If there is a bet out there where it's will BJ McLeod finish the race,
Mm-hmm.
I don't bet, but if I did, I would hammer the yes.
Can you walk us through the thought process there?
He's one of those drivers who takes care of his own equipment. He's driving for himself. He wants to not pay more money to fix a race car.
Okay.
He knows how to
Fair
do
enough.
that.
So, lock it in. 33rd place finish, BJ McLeod.
Well, not necessarily 33rd. There can be more than 7 cars wrecking. It's Talladega.
It
There's
was. You knew what I was going for.
Yeah.
And then, finally, for the Cup Series, me and Andrew, we're agreeing. Look at us.
Wow.
Look at us. Ryan Blaney is the pick for both of us. You heard Andrew's reasoning earlier on when he was talking about guys to watch out for. I listened to Andrew's advice before he even said it and picked Ryan Blaney as well.
Sometimes my genius is almost frightening. So we have 5 minutes before the show ends, technically. So I'm going to quickly go through the NASCAR silly season. Some
rumors.
Some teams yet to make things official. You have
Let's hear it.
Front Row Motorsports. They have a number yet to be confirmed and a driver yet to be confirmed. Sounds like it's going to be Zane Smith on the 34, and Noah Gregson's number will be the 4. That's what he told people. And then Rick Ware Racing. They're the only other team that hasn't confirmed anything. They have drivers yet to be announced. I would assume a hodgepodge, a mixture of drivers in one car, and maybe Corey LaJoie. There's possibly where they might do a loaner with Ryan Preece with RFK, maybe. That also might happen with the JTG Daughtry Racing, who might be coming, according to someone's LinkedIn post, something to do with Cow's Motorsports. I don't know what the actual name is, but Cow was in the team name. I don't know. There's a lot been weird stuff with JTG Daughtry Racing, but we'll see what they do. I hope Zane Smith gets Cup right. He's turned his season around a lot. It's the summer of Zane is what people have been saying. So yeah. With that is season 30 or episode 39, season 2 of the Loose Wheel Show. Come back next.
We can't end 4 minutes early.
We can't. We won't. We're doing a slow wrap up. Come back next Tuesday, or evening, not afternoon, 9:30 local time.
You just plan on talking slow for 4 minutes.
10:30 Central Time.
We'll see where this goes.
Well, 10:30 regular Mountain Time, 11:30 Central Time, 12:30 Eastern Time, and if you're somewhere else in the world, do math to figure it out.
You don't want to mention Pacific Time?
Well, we are Pacific Time.
Right. But you mentioned.
I mentioned
you said
9:30
specifically-
local time.
Okay.
So, anyway, that's Ethan Ignatovsky. What do you have to say?
I won our fantasy baseball league that Andrew is also a part of. I'd like to take this time to say that I won.
You said enough. I got third. Anything else to
That's
say?
a podium spot.
Yeah, podium spot.
Anything else I want to say?
Any cool things coming up for you?
Any cool things coming up for me? Covering volleyball on Friday.
Read his stuff on the internet. You can find it.
Look up my name.
Yeah. Look,
ETHANIGNATOVSKY.
yeah, you can find my Twitter. I don't know what my ad is. I think it's Andrew21 Hayes.
Something to do with being Andrew Hazlett would be my personal guess.
Yeah, I tweet things.
You know, this is the first time we've ever had to stall for time. Like, even when we just did the podcast, like, we would yap for way over an hour. This is the first time we've ever had to we're getting questions.
Oh, fan questions. Oh,
Fan
gosh.
questions, yeah. We'll open the floor to fan questions now.
For just a minute.
I am currently leading the pick points battle, 322 points to Andrew's 310. Basically, I'm just better than Andrew at everything. Not actually, though. Andrew actually has a table that tells us who's better at what. Andrew, we have a minute left, but try to go through it real quick. At least the key points of it.
In the Formula 1, Formula 2 racing, I'm better
Which
than
is
Ethan.
honestly very surprising.
Do you want to hear something even more surprising? You're better at NASCAR than me, and you're also better at IndyCar than me. IndyCar's done 74 to 45 there. That's the totals. Book it. That's done. And sports car, I'm dominating.
Yeah, I am a distant ways away. 37 sports car points picked up by me compared to Andrew's 61. So, and just looking at how rare sports car races, that's pretty telling about.
We've got 2 sports car races left, including one next week. So, all right, people of the world, goodbye.
Successfully stalled.
Bye. Do you
Goodbye.
want- All right, bye. Again.
Bye again.
Now here is Highwaymen by the Highwaymen. Followed that up, Breakdown After Dark. Stay tuned for them.
To me, it looked like he actually lost the wheel.
The wheel for Ross Chastain is still and perfect.
Wheel on the track.
Did you leave the wheel loose?
You picked the fine time to leave me loose, wheel.